In today's episode, we're honored to have Annie J. Ross-Womack as our guest. A dedicated advocate for sickle cell disease, Annie's passion and tireless efforts have made a significant impact in raising awareness and supporting individuals and families affected by this challenging condition. As the executive director for Ohio Sickle Cell and Health Association, the Ohio affiliate of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, and Ohio SCD statewide family support initiative project lead, Annie brings a wealth of knowledge, expertise, and first-hand experience to our conversation. Join us as we delve into Annie's inspiring journey, her advocacy work, and the individual insight as she offers on living with and combating the effects of sickle cell disease. Living your life, please help me welcome Annie J. Ross-Womack. Hey, Annie.
Hey.
What's up, Annie?
What's up, Julia?
I'm going to tell you right now, Annie, you have way too many titles. Girl, you out here working. You out here
Lot
doing
of titles with one paycheck, bro.
They ain't give me one check. So that means you have to be doing this out your heart. You know
Got to be.
You know what? Let's just talk about this. I've made a lot of advocates, but you're just special to me. How did you become an advocate for this disease? Because you could have advocated for anything with your passion and your heart. How did you become an advocate for sickle cell disease?
Well, growing up in the South, I had a lot of my family members who had sickle cell disease. A lot that passed away from complications to sickle cell disease. And then I grew up, married someone who had the trait. So I have a son with trait. So it's very important that I'm in the work to spread awareness, but not only just give information to my family members. And so that's why I'm an advocate. And, it's, when things run in your family, when you're around folk who have, genetic disorders, it's just easy. It's a given.
It's necessary work. What part of the South you from?
Louisiana.
What part of Louisiana, girl?
New Orleans.
Come on now.
Ninth Ward.
Huh, bro? You heard me?
Ninth Ward, Karan Deledi Poche.
Come on, Siva. Come on now. Know a little bit about that. That is absolutely great because and tell me, how many years have you been in advocacy?
For sickle cell disease, it's been about 30 years.
You've been doing this 30 years, so you're aware of all the issues, all the problems, and nothing new to you, and then you never seen. So tell me, what are some of the challenging issues you've seen in your advocacy work in 30 years?
Well, I mean, definitely more, with the whole transition, which you very well know, going from the pediatric setting to the adult setting, and how a lot of our warriors are lost in transition because there are no enough adults. So that has always been the challenge because sickle cell has always been looked at as a pediatric disease, as a child disease. I mean, we're still funded by newborn screening dollars. So there are no adult dollars. So people don't even go into sickle cell. So the major problem that's been around since I've been here has been that transition to adulthood and finding folk to do their job.
Right. Because you see, when you say advocacy, people understand. Since if you're watching, let me just explain this to you. I need an Annie. Let's say I'm in the hospital and I don't get the treatment that I need or the medication I need, or my plan is wrong, my pain level, they're not addressing. Here come Annie. This is what Annie does on my behalf while I'm sick. And let me say something, Annie. Annie, let me ask you this. When you're advocating, I'm telling you, this has got to be some heartfelt work. You've seen this happen so many times. Have you seen any changes with doctors that you've run into or nurses, or when you're talking? Like, what is the conversation about?
Well, I mean, I've seen a change from some that look like us, because at first there were none that looked like us that are handling this. And so you go in, you say sickle what? They don't understand. And then so the change has been gradual. We've had professionals who have sickle cell disease themselves, who are educating their staff and then teaching their, community health workers and their nurses and their lay people about sickle cell disease. But going into the hospital trying to explain, just because the brother sitting in the corner is well dressed, he's laughing, he's talking to his family, does not negate his pain. Has always been the issue. Or having a young African American man show up understanding that he needs to be titrated at a level 10 and he can tell the kind of drugs he needs and at what dosage. And then they look at him and say, oh, what do you know about those? You're just coming here for drug seeking. and then having that whole way that they look at young men now versus the same little boy that they loved on the pediatric wing of the same hospital grows up, becomes a teenager, and then becomes a man, and he's going in saying he's in pain, but he's not broken down, he's not bleeding, there's no outward appearance of his pain. And then they're like, oh, you just come here for drugs because you cannot be that much in pain and you're having these conversations with me. So that has been the major issue and the major hurdle with our population, is that pain seeking mentality that they think we have when they go in. And some folks are labeled as frequent flyers, and I'm like, what are you putting that in their chart for? Oh, they come here all the time and they say they're in pain, but we can't they just cannot be in that much pain. You don't live within their body, you don't know what kind of pain they got.
Yeah, you have no idea.
You ain't
And
me.
no, and exactly, and that's how I feel. And you speaking for me, 'cause that's how I feel. Do you know how many times I've been to the hospital myself, and been called a drug seeker, as if I ain't got other stuff to do? Okay, I got a job I have to be at. I have family that care for me. You think I got time just to come in here and come pick up some Dilaudid? Are you crazy? You think I got time for that? And that's what I'm saying, Andy. At least you're advocating for us. Because have you seen any changes in laws in Ohio about how they treat people with sickle cell? Is there anything that you've seen?
Well, I mean, we've definitely been aggressive on. We do have a comprehensive sickle cell clinic for adults here in Ohio, and we've been pushing for a lot of folks to have sickle cell clinics that are separate and from under the umbrella of oncology, which is cancer. We want them to go into hematology, which is HEMOC, where we need to be, where most Black folk have hematology disorders of blood. We don't, cancers, I'm not putting anybody's thing down. I'm just saying we need to have our own stuff for people can look at our own things. And so, it's been different in Ohio because, we have been, our organization is 60 years old. So our organization, they've been around and we've been screaming the same thing for 60 years. So we haven't changed our mission. We just advocate, we do education, and we do support. We have not changed our mission. We don't fly with the times. Our focus is sickle cell disease, sickle cell trait, and hemoglobin gold disorders, and that's it. We ain't trying to run after nobody else's stuff. We stand in our lane, and we think we do our lane perfectly. So we tell our doctors and our physicians, look, you got to change these laws. We have to be equal to cancer patients. We have to have equal pain medication.
I've been saying that.
We
You
have to
better
have
talk,
equal
Annie.
things.
You
We're
better
not
talk, Annie.
we're not doing this anymore.
You better
We're
talk,
not
Annie.
doing this no more.
That's not, and that's the thing, Annie. That's how I feel. Just everything. I don't want nothing better than anybody. I just want to be equal. That's all I want. I just want to be equal. There's nothing wrong with that because when you say all of those things, and that's the thing. Cancer patients, they have a lot of support from the community. Everybody else, lupus has a lot of support for the Crohn's. They have a lot of support for the community. How important is it for sickle cell people to get the same support from the community, Annie?
It's very important because again, this is all about the color of one's skin. I mean, you need to nail it what it is because cystic fibrosis has 30,000 folk that they say are affected. We got 100,000 or more.
Oh,
They
I believe it's
have
more.
millions of
I believe
drugs.
way
We
more.
got four.
Yes.
It's just the problem is definitely systematic racism, but then it's the way that people treat people, and that goes back to Dr. Martin Luther King's statement about inhuman folks, because you sit there and let folk die, give them the wrong treatment simply because of the color of their skin. Has nothing to do with anything else. Because had sickle cell disease affected the other populations, we wouldn't have this conversation. We need to have it.
I promise you. I promise you. And I say this because it's the absolute truth. This is how I feel. If white people had rampant sickle cell disease, I'm talking about running rampant, let 100,000 of them have it. I bet you'd be over.
It wouldn't even 100,000.
Oh, they'd be working on it tirelessly. But I appreciate the people who are working on it, just like yourself. So like give me some. I don't like doing all the pain, but give me some of the highlights that you're proud of that you and your organization have accomplished. Just give me those.
I mean, we don't do this alone. We have people like me in every state, well, with Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, our parent company. We got folk all over that do the same thing I do. So together, we've put forth legislation. We've made sure that we still are funded with the Sickle Cell Demonstration Treatment Act. We've made sure that there's funding in HRSA for our community-based organizations to help folk boots on the ground. We've made sure that, some of us are written into our state budgets. It's hard to do, but we've made sure that it's been done. We made sure that we've been able to support our families during COVID, to get COVID dollars to make sure that our families are not evicted when the moratorium is over. We made sure that we've applied for funding for bereavement funding. I mean, because we need counseling. We have family members who are feeling guilty from the day their child is born to something happened to the child. They need some help. We've made sure that we've had some comprehensive services and some real good working with pharma companies to make sure that they're putting things out here that are not so expensive that our folk can't afford it, because there's no use of signing off on bills and laws and getting stuff passed, and we can't even afford to buy the stuff. So we've done a lot of things behind the scenes. We don't have to go out here and scream and holler, because I refuse. I refuse to be out here marching, jumping on the fence, jumping on the board. I'm going to get you where it hurts. I'm going to get you in your pocket, and I'm going to bring myself to the table. Like Shirley Chisholm said, I got a whole lot of folding chairs. I made a lot of people table, and my chair may be different, but I bet I'll be at that table.
Yeah, you're gonna be at the table. We have to have seat. See, that's one thing about it, because I can hear it now. After 30 years, I can tell you tired, Annie.
Tired.
I'm talking about Annie.
What the girl say? Fat Lou Hammer, sick and tired.
I'm tired, Annie. I'm telling you, I'm so glad to talk to you, because this is how I feel. See, now it ain't just me talking no more. See, now it ain't me just up here in an uproar. Annie in an uproar too. See, we all tired. Yeah, I can't believe you said that for me. We don't want nothing better. We just want something equal. Mm-hmm. And let me ask you something. Like what? See, now we get into this. See, I know all the other organizations, whether you have cancer or Crohn's or anything like that, they have services that are set up for them. But you know what? With the sickle cell community, we don't even know what services are available to us. And please speak to this, because this is serious. Because some people are gonna need some help and don't even know how to go get it, and they don't even know what to ask for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of that, it's just with us, we have a problem with making everything so simple that we kind of downplay our own stuff. Oh, it's just a little sugar. No, you got diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't breathe. You got congestive heart failure. Ain't nothing pretty about not breathing and having diabetes, but we try to pacify everything away. We don't ask for help. We go into the doctor's office. They give us 10 minutes. You let that man walk out the door. Excuse me, sir, and or madam, I need these services. What is extra for me? So before they start talking to me, I'm like, excuse me, I have an agenda. I got a list. I make a list. I need to know if I need food and clothing. Where's the social worker? Do you want to see social worker today? Yes, I do. When they go to the pharmacy and pick up their medication, the pharmacist come right there and ask you got any questions? You need anything? I can't afford this medicine. I need some assistance. They're asking the questions. We're not answering the questions. And then we're so afraid to let everybody know, come October, everything will be painted pink.
Right.
Everything will be painted pink. Your shoes, your pizza box, everything.
Come on. Annie, I ain't gonna stop you. Go ahead.
But we don't.
I'm telling you, saying it. The truth.
I mean, you go to your church. You go to your church. Your pastor and them don't even know you got sickle cell.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
They just think you sick.
NFL teams, everybody finna be pink.
You get up there and get the mic on Super South Sunday, and you be talking about everything else. But say, look, I got sickle cell. I need some help. This is what it is. Teach a class.
Yeah.
Invite yourself to the conversation. They start talking about cancer. You say, wait a minute. I know it's October, but did you know September was sickle cell month?
The month before.
Speak up for yourself.
Yeah. Because that's me, and I didn't know. They didn't tell me I wasn't supposed to talk about sickle cell. I've been having this my entire life. And as soon as I started talking, he's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, I have this. Am I the only one? I'm just asking a question in here. Am I the only one? I know it's got to be some more people, because I got it. And I'm telling you something, and if we don't have people like you who are advocating our behalf, how much worse would we be? We wouldn't even be this far.
I mean, it's hard to say, because you got people and they're like, what goes on in the house stays in the house. And we have famous people that have left us that had sickle cell disease. Didn't even know it. Now we know it because we can go back but how powerful would it have been? I mean, then we got our first national spokesperson, T-Boz. How powerful was that everybody knew? And then when they did the movie, everybody knew. It was like, wow. I'm going to go look that up. Now we got Google. You can look up anybody and see what they died of. And you digging up folks like, I did not know that. I did not. Because they kept everything secret. Nowadays, you better open your mouth. You posting your food, you better post everything else.
Let me tell you something, Annie. You are such a powerful voice for this disease. I'm so proud to even know you because I just want to let everybody know it ain't just me. A lot of us are tired. I've been wanting to say I'm tired for so long, Annie, but you know what I keep doing? I keep getting up and living my life. I keep going because I'm not going to give y'all nothing to talk about. I ain't going to make no excuses. See, when I have sickle cell, I got to work twice as hard as you. Twice. You want to think about it? I'm in the hospital. They brought my homework to the hospital. I had to do it. Working twice. And you've seen kids get their homework in their hospital room. So I can't make this up.
Oh no, you're not making it up. I had to take computers up to the room, get them some special accommodations in their college courses. Get them. I'm dealing with one right now. Had to go up there and talk to the dean. Like, why she get a D? You know, you already knew coming in she had sickle cell. What's the problem? What I mean, the little girl. I ain't saying about little Megan in the wheelchair, but she started off with a C. I'm just saying, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, she started off with a. You started her off with a C just because. Don't.
I ain't saying nothing about Megan in the wheelchair, but she started with a C. The sickle cell person get a D?
I'm just saying.
I understand. And you is crazy for sure. I know that. But you're crazy for the right cause. That's what I'm glad. I'm glad you're in here fighting, Annie. And before I let you get out of here, Annie, what do you see for the future of sickle cell disease? And what would you want to see people happen? I'm telling you, you're talking to just the people like me. What you're fighting for me?
Well, I mean, I want to see I want to see the same care that's given to newborns and people up to their 17, 18. I want to see that transcend over, especially in that transition age. I want them to have young adult facilities because young adults should be treated differently. They're not babies anymore. They become at birthing age. They need to understand their reproductive. They need to do all that. Then they need to have adult comprehensive centers. You know, we got folk living longer. I got an 89, 90-year-old here in Ohio. She's still line dancing. I mean, we got people, they're doing this thing.
That's living your life right there.
They're not getting the same care or the same concern. Just because I do it doesn't mean I'm not in pain. Just because you see me out here working every day, you don't understand my pain. You don't know me, and you don't want to know me. But you'll get to know Billy, Becky, Barbara. You'll get to know all of them, put their life on the spotlight. And we come there, oh, you just got pain. Oh, that's all it is. What you mean that's all it is?
You ain't got this.
You ain't on this. You don't know nothing about this.
You don't know now.
You'll never know.
You don't know now. Them places I've been. I understand because I've been there. And let me tell you something. What you're doing is so important, Annie. And I'm just gonna tell you. I need you, friend. I need you on that front line, friend. I need you getting mad for me, friend. Because I'm over here in this hospital bed. I can't speak for myself, friend. I need an Annie. And Annie, you keep coming every time they call you. I love you, Miss Annie.
I love you too, Junior. And I'll be praying for all my folk. Open your mouth.
Yes.
Pick up that phone.
Yes.
Pick up that phone. Call your friend. Have somebody come in there with you. They can't deny. When you call a person to come up to the hospital for you, they can't stop them from coming in there. They can't do COVID protocols. They can't keep throwing the same stuff out because you don't do it to nobody else. Why you doing it for him? Why you doing it for her?
Yeah.
And we know what it is.
Let me tell you something, girl. You are living your life, and I need you. Thank you so much for coming on this show. But I'm going to tell you what I ain't going to never forget, though. Megan in the wheelchair got a C. Why the sickle cell girl get a D now? She started at a C. I ain't gonna never forget that, Ann. Thank you so much, Ms. Womack. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you, and I love you. And thank you for being a part of Living Your Life podcast. This is a great episode. I enjoyed this one.
Thanks for having me, Julia.
You're so welcome. I always welcome fools now.